Good morning, everybody. Happy January 31st. It's the last day of January. Can you believe it? So, if you are new to my channel, my name is Colleen Light. I'm an independent demonstrator, Stampin' Up demonstrator from Southwest Washington, Kalama, Washington. It's a small town. Anyway, so welcome to my shadowy craft room. It's a lot of cloud cover outside today. Let me tell you what we're going to work on. We are going to make this beautiful sympathy card. It's a very simple layout because I like my sympathy cards to be simple. So, and we're going to be using the Heartfelt Hexagon Bundle. So don't forget, we only have one more month left of celebration. So if you want to earn some of those free goodies, things, you know, do have a tendency to sell out. So make sure you get your order in. Anyway, let me flip you around. We'll talk a little bit more as we go on. And let's have some fun creating this card together. And I'll show you some of the other samples that I have. So, like I said, the Heartfelt Hexagon, let me slip on my glasses here. The Heartfelt Hexagon is what we'll be working with today. I absolutely love the sentiments in this bundle. And you can find this in the mini catalog on page 12. And don't forget, when you order in a bundle, you can save 10%. So you get that additional savings right away. So if you are watching, please leave a comment. Let me know what you're working on in your craft room today. And I am really happy to show you this punch and bundle. You have something for Mr. and Mrs., sending you lots of love and hugs. Sincere sympathy, that's one we'll be working with. Let's eat cake. I love the border dies for this card, for this punch. Absolutely love it. Let me show you some of my samples. So you all know, if you've been watching, I love the Be Mine Suite. Absolutely love it. And I used some of the designer series paper, same dimensions, just a little bit different paper. I didn't emboss, but how cute is this one? Let's eat cake. So this would be a birthday card for me. And as you know, I'm on my one Christmas card a week. I don't want to be behind next year because I do craft shows and I send out a lot of holiday cards. So this is what I've got for this week's Christmas card. And how pretty is that? A little gold ribbon, used an embossing folder, took out some of that designer series paper, and just as easy as can be. So let's go ahead and get started on today's project. Let's go ahead and we'll start with the stamping first this time. I'm always kind of switching it up, and I'm using Night of Navy. And then we're going to do our cutting and embossing. But let's go ahead and start with our stamping real quick. This is just a scrap I have. Like I said, I'm using Night of Navy. Let me grab some blocks here. And I'm going to be taking out the With Sincere Sympathy. I love the flowers and floral things they have, images they have here. But since it's a sympathy card, I'm really going to go very simple on these cards. So when you have a stamp like this, just let it sit for a minute and relax, because you want it to relax just a bit before you put it on your block to make sure it maintains its shape. And then I have the With Sincere Sympathy here, and I'm going to take that. Let me grab some. You can see my grid paper. It's well loved. I have the bees images all over, and I just keep using it until I can't use it anymore. And let me grab this. And since this is photopolymer, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Pierce mat. If you're able to do the starter kit, if that's something you're interested in, you can get the glass mat as part of the starter kit option. And the nice thing about that is you don't always need, from what I understand, I don't have the glass mat. I didn't order it in time, and demonstrators now can't order until after the starter kit. Everyone has that opportunity through Celebration. But from what I understand, you don't need the Stampin' Pierce mat. You can just stamp your images using photopolymer right on the glass mat. So look at the detail in that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love it. And now let's go ahead and do the With Sincere Sympathy. So let's go ahead and pop that right down there in the center without getting my head in your way. And there we have it. And let's punch this image out, and then we'll do some cutting and embossing. So I love the Heartfelt Hexagon. If you're new to Stampin' Up, you would just pop that up like that, and that's how you open your punch. Go ahead and slip this in, line up your image, and give it a punch. So that part of our card is done. Now, you know I put everything to the top as I'm working on things. So let's go ahead and cut our card base and get ready to do some embossing. I'm going to use the Countryside Inn because I think it just matches this perfectly, and I loved how the birds looked on this card. I thought it fit perfectly. Good morning, Mary Ellen. Thanks for joining today. So let's go ahead and cut a standard card base here. We're going to cut this at 5.5 inches by 8.5. So I'm going to score this right down the middle so we can get 2 card bases out of this cardstock if we want to. So there we go. And we're going to score this at 4 1/4. So then I would take my cutting blade and put that up and grab the light gray one to give this a score. And that is our card base. So that's pretty easy. Let's go ahead and cut the rest of the paper. We're going to need 2 pieces of basic white cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. So let's go ahead and do 5 1/4 here because we want to do an inside panel. So let's cut them both at the same time by 4 inches. One's for the embossed layer and one is for the inside layer of our card. And let's go ahead now and cut our designer series paper and another piece of Night of Navy. So for the Night of Navy, we need this at 1 inch. And like I said, I like to keep my sympathy cards very easy. And we want this at 5 1/4. And of course, I will have all of this blogged for you. Now let's grab in this absolutely beautiful Countryside Inn piece of designer series paper. I absolutely love this. I have a sample packet here, so let me show you. You can see I've been in it. It just spilled everywhere. You can use this for Easter, anytime, type of springtime occasion. I absolutely love this. It's just beautiful. But I think I say that about all of Stampin' Up's designer series paper. I think I say it's all just beautiful. So since this is directional, make sure we're cutting it in the direction you want. So I want this at 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. And which way do I want this? I'm trying to save as many of the birds as I can. I liked it this way. Okay, so 5 1/4 inch, and there we go. So these cards, as you can see, you can make many, many of them. So one of my favorite embossing folders is this quarter foil tile embossing folder. This makes the most gorgeous image. I can't wait to show you. So let's move these things out of the way. Let me grab my cut and emboss machine. And this is one of the thin ones. This is not a 3D folder, so you don't need the 3D folder. The other, you don't need number 4, I think is what I'm trying to say. You don't need the number 4 plate today. You want the 1, the 3, and the 3. And they're all numbered, and the recipe is right here on your base. So that makes it easy. the other thing I want to show you is, since this, you really want this even. So these embossing folders come with a black line right here. So line up your paper right there at the bottom to make sure you have it even. And then close your folder. Pop that in, seam side in. Go ahead and add your extra plate and just put this through your cut and emboss machine. And it goes through in a breeze, and the little snap you heard is normal. And look at the image. Let me know what you think about this image. I absolutely think it is just a classic, beautiful, elegant image. I absolutely love it. All right, so here's my sample. I always keep my sample close, and here are all of my pieces. I do have a little bit of this Simply Elegant trim we're going to add, and this is available in the annual catalog, as is the embossing, and you can get the silver and the gold comes in the one packet. Just fabulous, right? Okay, so let me go ahead here, and I want to grab out my mat in case I get glue everywhere, as I sometimes can do. So a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't even get online because it was so icy and snowy here in Southwest Washington. And today I'm listening to the birds sing, looked at all the weeds in my yard and thought, well, it is not even February yet, but it certainly feels like spring. So who knows what's going on with our weather here. And then I just give that a nice little, slide my fingers across it to make sure that glue adheres. And I like mine a little off center. So I'm going to go ahead and put this again down here towards the base. Now, when I'm using an embossing folder, like I did, I will use the liquid glue always and not the seal, because I want it to get in those little crevices and grooves and really make sure that this sticks to my card stock. So that's what I'm going to do there. And it also gives you a little wiggle room. So if you're looking at it and you're thinking, oh, that just doesn't look very even, you have a little bit of play with it, right? Okay, and again, just run your fingers across, easy like that. Let's adhere this to our card base. Let me move this out of the way. So again, I love to hear what everyone's working on in their craft room. It always makes me so happy to hear. And if you make this card, I love when I get to see it. So please share. I absolutely love seeing what you are all doing and creating. There we go. Let's pop that right there. Let's go ahead and put our inside panel while we have our card base while we're working with it. Let's go ahead and put just a little bit of glue. You don't need much for the inside panel. And I'm not decorating. Normally I would decorate the inside quite a bit, either with designer series paper or stamps, something along those lines. But since this is a sympathy card again, I'm going to go very simple. So here is that twine I was talking about. The elegant trim, which you can find, Simply Elegant trim. And this is what the gold looks like. It's sparkly, and I love all things that sparkle, as you know. So I am going to just wrap it around to make it look like a bow. So for this, I am going to grab my Stampin' Seal, or my Seal Plus, I should say. Let's go ahead. And to make sure I don't get this all over my card base or my workspace, I'm going to bring this back in. And then all I do is bring it up, kind of hold my finger there, make a loop, bring it back down, and I'm going to make another loop. So for me, this is pretty darn easy. Well, I'm going to say it's easy, and that's when it's all going to fall apart. I can do 100 of these in my craft room, and never a problem, but the minute I get online, I give them all thumbs. Do you all, I know some of you who are watching do lives, and do you have the same problem? It's like, oh, 800 times in the craft room, no problem. One time on live, all thumbs. Okay, and then just give that a little snip, not leaving the tails too long on this one. Then you can see I'm happy with the placement. Oh, you know, I think I maybe wanted a little bit more narrow. I could fool around with bows all day long. Honestly, I could sit here for hours just fooling around with bows, but that would be very boring for you. So let me go ahead here, and I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. So you see, as I go along, you can see I am making Christmas cards every time I get out supplies with the product from the mini catalog. Just pretty much because it's fun and I want to be a little bit further ahead. So because this is a little higher than, I'm only putting the dimensionals here at the top and the bottom, because this adds a little bit of height, just enough that the dimensionals on the other card I really had to fool around with. So I'm going to line this up, make sure it's even, and pop that there. Now I'm using the retired solid faceted gems because it had the Night of Navy that I wanted. But use whatever you have in your craft room. I am one of these firm believers that, you know, use what you have. And that's why I like to show all the different samples with the layouts I use using different product. Use what you have. I love when you place your orders, and I'm always so grateful for your support. But I also know that sometimes we have quite a bit in our craft room that we need to use up. Okay, so let me clear out my mess here. You know I'm a messy crafter, so let me push everything off to the side. This was my sample, and this is a card I made. And amazingly enough, they are very close. So I'm happy about that. And then this was the Christmas card of the week. And I think I took that out of the old gingerbread set. I tend to hang on to all my Christmas sets. So I think that's where that came from. Anyway, I thought this turned out just beautiful. And then the Let's Eat Cake using the Be Mine Suite, which really, if you don't have the Be Mine Suite, you need it. It's fabulous. Anyway, I hope you all have the very best day. Thanks so much for joining me. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about today's cards. And I'm going to post this video to YouTube. Please like, comment, or subscribe. I'm almost up to 800 subscribers, and that is a goal of mine. So anyway, have a fabulous day.